in general was a lot more.
Save that for the conversation.
Yeah.
Because here we are on the SideQuest Live. Your favorite, are you watching? Are you listening? Your favorite video game podcast of all time. It's here. We did it. We're back. And we're going to talk about some fun stuff. We are joined, as usual, by a menagerie of video game geniuses, experts, and so-called gamers with the Z. I'm Dolly Domofsky. Joining me this way is JJ, the _double_J. Look at that.
Yeah.
To his right, your left, Sam Dixon.
I'd like to say that I claim none of what he introed us as.
Certainly not menagerie.
We are our Discord's favorite podcast hosts about side questing. I guess that's maybe about the best way we could put it. Maybe.
I don't even know if that's true.
That may not be true, yeah. We are also going to be joined, hopefully, by Taylor, who's probably in the shower. That's the joke, but it's probably likely true. And by Zach, maybe. We'll see. You know Zach. We love you, Zach.
He's a pain in the ass.
He's a pain in the ass. How you guys doing? Doing good?
Yeah.
A lovely
Just
Monday.
hanging out. Yeah.
It's the fall. Leaves are changing.
We can talk about sports. Hey, the Mariners have made it to the postseason for the first time in
did.
20 years.
You've had 2 weeks of gloating with Seattle stuff over me. Yeah.
I definitely know what sport that is.
That's
be Marvel, the Submariner.
Yeah. Submariners. It's a Marvel. It's the Blitzball.
Blitzball. Yeah, there you go. Blitzball.
I don't know. Did you see like the Seahawks aren't exactly filling me with confidence.
No.
But at least we beat the Detroit Lions. That's all.
You sure did. And it's funny because no sooner you shamed me last week on our podcast when I had to wear my Lions shirt and my other Lions hat. I thought I'm gonna go out and buy myself a new Lions hat. Maybe that'll change their luck. It did not change their luck. Although this is a dope hat. I really like this hat.
That's a good hat.
I've become a hat guy. I don't know why.
I am excessively a hat guy.
Are you really? Okay.
Oh, I have an entire shelf of a closet just stacked of hats. I would say about 80 baseball caps.
Oh wow! Holy cow! Yeah,
and I cycle through. Yeah. I cycle through them all. Like that's just if we win a game, if they have a fancy new something, I'm all in. I get every time I go to a convention, every time I go to an event, I don't get a t-shirt, I get a hat. That's just
I think that's what I'm going to start doing too. In fact, I'm going to start doing weekly. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also bald, so it helps with the.
It helps, yeah. No, I was going to say I'm going to start doing a weekly bet, a friendly wager with friends on Twitter and stuff. That if whatever my team plays against your team, whoever wins, the other person has to buy a hat of the opposing side. So
I could not commit to that.
Hey, it's Taylor Bliss. He's the silent Taylor Bliss. Who probably needs to plug something in. He's looking good. He's looking washed, looking clean.
Fresh out of the shower.
Taylor Bliss. Out of the shower. Look at that.
Tell us with your audio how fresh and clean you are.
Extremely.
There it is.
There you go. We were just talking about hats. We're gonna have a good fun time tonight. There's not a whole lot of news going on, so we're gonna spend more time about us. Last week was actually really good. A lot of people said they liked our episode. The 3 people that watched said they liked our episode about our.
Wow, that's a 100% ratio.
It really is. This week, it's gonna be. We didn't really have a topic, but we got a couple of dissertations, which are good. But I did want to do a couple quick little bits of news. This one here is something that I think all of us were. That was shredding the internet apart, and that was the Super Mario Brothers movie. Finally, we saw the trailer.
Oh, did you guys watch this?
Yeah, did you watch it?
Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't look at it.
Oh, yeah,
here it comes.
No, I didn't. I did watch it. I'm just kidding.
No,
I got you guys.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we
Go, huh? Go.
Go.
Let's move. Yeah, it's the visuals look awesome in this. Like Illumination knows they are top tier when it comes to this sort of kid animation style. Everything from lighting and textures. I mean, look at that shot with the tail. That's freaking badass.
I think all the visuals look good.
They look real good. I mean, I don't know anything about the movie. We don't know anything about this movie. We're still hearing about the voices. People are freaked out that Mario has a human voice. I heard somebody complain that it should have been an Italian actor or something. That he's not Italian enough, and I'm like, well, Charles Martinet was an Italian, and yeah,
Captain Lou Albano was certainly not Italian.
Yeah.
I think the thing that will forever be so wild to me is, I understand casting voices for the majority of people, but Mario has had an established voice since like the very beginning of like Mario having a voice.
Yes.
And it's just wild to me that we go to anybody else and he's going to be, quote, various characters throughout the world. If Wario or whatever doesn't show up with him as the voice, like what's the point? Like, why is Mario not Mario?
Here's the thing. Like, are we accepting that this is an isekai or not? Like, listen, we're here together, the four of us. Is this a Mario isekai? Answer me.
Mario has always been an isekai.
Yes,
since day one. The first game, he stumbles into the Mushroom Kingdom while doing plumbing. So it's always been an isekai.
Okay. I mean, so how do we treat this? I will say, having rewatched it just now, I don't know if they mocapped the VAs at all, but like there was like Jack Black mannerisms in the Bowser facial expressions, which were quite noticeable to me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I am. First of all, the animation looks badass to me. I think it looks pretty phenomenal. Probably the best I've seen out of Illumination thus far yet in terms of their
tricky
stuff.
Because like Illumination tends to not go like super high def most of the time. Like everything in Despicable Me is sort of like, kind of simple geometry. There's not a lot of texture work. There's not a lot of stuff like that.
Them like most Nintendo games, they choose character aesthetic over high definition. And guess what? Both have been highly effective in selling copious amounts of product.
Yeah, and the things where that aesthetic doesn't work have failed for Illumination for the most part. So, it's what was it? They like their Dr. Seuss stuff was not particularly successful for them, but here we go. Here's Mario, man. High definition and crazy cast. I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic about it than probably the majority of the internet. Mario's voice is weird, but like
whatever. We'll get used to it very quickly.
We heard what, 2 lines? I don't know. Yeah, I heard 2 lines and there was different accent in both of the lines that were delivered.
Yeah.
And they haven't even gone through all the post-production in the audio.
Yeah. His voice would be a barking dog. I'd go see it. It's still the Mario movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it comes down to. It's just kind of disappointing that of course he hyped it up of his voiceover work on the thing, but it just to come out and it just sounds like he just said the lines.
Actor supports own work.
Can we talk about how absolutely miserable his little video was, though?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I can't wait to hop on some. I used to hop on some Koopas.
He clearly wanted to say Goombas, but then realized that
dude, how obvious was that?
Then remembered at the last second that shit, Goombas weren't in the arcade game.
So Donkey Kong is in this.
It's Seth Rogen, right?
Seth Rogen, which is brilliant. Actually, Jack Black was fantastic. He's going to be the show stealer.
And
he
always
is. Taylor-Joy is going to be pretty good, I think, as Princess Peach.
I'm fucking stoked for Charlie Day's Luigi.
Luigi, because we had that little teaser at the end, which is almost Luigi's Mansion-ish. I think. All right, here's my opinion. This movie's going to start in New York, in New Donk City.
New Donk City,
with Mario battling Donkey Kong. In kind of a throwback to those old arcade days, right? It's gonna be Mario rescuing someone or doing something, rescuing Pauline from Donkey Kong, and then he's gonna get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, Isekai, because they need a hero. And hey, guess what? There's a hero in the real world, and who beat this giant gorilla.
I mean, in true Isekai faction, gets his ass handed to him by Donkey Kong.
And he gets hit by an ambulance, and then he gets Isekai.
Yep. But I think what's really kind of interesting is that this really could, because they really have packed a lot of characters in this. This could be the sort of start of I hate to say it this way, the Nintendo movie multiverse, because you could see a Donkey Kong movie come out of this with Seth Rogen. You could see a Luigi focused film.
I mean, like we say hate to say it, but like Nintendo, if you look at the grand portfolio of what Nintendo does and how successful all of their properties are for it, that's the thing that they are missing. You know, the success of multimedia. You know, Pokemon has been doing it for decades. And you know, with how closely they work with the Pokemon company, they certainly know what's possible.
I think your dog wants to get out, by the way.
Dog is
I mean, much as he knows, that doesn't go outside. So I'll open. You know what? I'll tell you what. Here you go, dog. It's open now. Go on. It goes to another room. Have fun. You want to come here? Come here. Come up here. Come here, buddy. It's all right.
What's your opinion on the Mario movie?
Yeah, what do you say?
Chris Pratt was rough.
Nice one, Dally. You nailed it. Totally. Here, dog. Sit down.
I think what you were saying. I was gonna say, I think we're getting the building of the Fellowship of the Ring here, but for Mario, I think Bowser's gonna try to take over Donkey Kong Land.
Oh, is this a transition into Mario RPG the movie?
Yeah. This builds everybody together, and then they're gonna spin off everybody separately. So you're gonna get Adventure Toad. What's his name? Captain Toad.
Captain Toad's
Captain Toad.
Would be awesome.
Adventure Toad. What's his name?
Adventure Toad. What's his name? You've just renamed our episode.
Listen, we know that this is. Then we're gonna get the Link movie. We're gonna get the Metroid movie. Then it's all gonna come to like Avengers Endgame, Super Smash Brothers movie.
Give me a Mario Kart. Well, I think a lot of folks were upset that Charles Martinet wasn't the voice. I think all that in that poster, right? That teaser poster, they showed those retro items there. I think Charles Martinet's voice is like retro items, retro Mario. They're gonna have like little Mario toys. And that's where Charles Martinet's voice is gonna come in. You're gonna see a lot of that stuff pop in.
In reality, there's two problems, right? Is that Charles Martinet, realistically, I don't know if is the best choice for an entire feature-length movie to voice Mario. The second problem is that after deciding that, they chose Chris Pratt. Like, those are two different problems. You know, definitely Chris Pratt was not the right, but like, you know, Martinet probably was not necessarily the right choice for an entire 90-minute movie.
I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever listened to like prolonged Charles Martinet Mario stuff. It's not like
it's not great.
It needs doses, man. There was that children's game where that was the first thing he did as Mario, and the voice hasn't changed since then. And it is full-length conversations with Mario, and it sucks and is miserable.
I feel like
taxes. Let's talk about the entire alphabet. A is for apple. B is okay. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't there some released footage of him doing his casting call, and like has nobody listened to that since then?
Yeah, like there was that E3 where they had the like Andros Mario head harassing con goers, and it was terrible. I mean, he's great as being just quick little shots that Mario is in the games, because Mario has no character in the Mario games. So when you just need him to be a voice, it works fine as Charles Martinet. I love Charles Martinet. Some of the stuff that he does that's not Mario is great. But just feature length Mario movie with him is not. I get it.
Yeah, maybe.
I wish they I'm sick and tired of Hollywood just disrespecting voiceover artists in general.
That's I was gonna.
That's my bigger problem than not hiring Charles Martinet. But that's a completely different subject with her completely not this program.
I will say, I mean, not that. Please don't label me a Chris Pratt defender, but he has busted some chops doing voiceover on quite a number of movies.
I mean,
before this,
the Lego movies are phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, he does very good in the Lego movies.
Yeah.
I think
I actually don't know if there's other ones other than that. But like he also plays the single most generic possible character in the Lego movies that has ever existed in humanity.
And
that's his voice, exactly. Yeah.
And that's the character too, is supposed to be like just the generic face, generic body.
Here is Yellow Man. We found
Yeah.
Well, the Mario movie, April 7th, we'll all be watching. Something that might actually arrive earlier than April 7th is something that we've been talking about for quite a while now in different variations. We've even talked about some different versions of it. Our good friend and avid SideQuesting viewer, podcast viewer, Phil Spencer. You guys know Phil? Hey, Phil.
Oh, of course.
Had posted his latest latest photograph of his
latest teaser.
His latest teaser, and in the background, the infamous Keystone. I'm right there. I can't really zoom in very well. There it is. What they're calling the Keystone. That's the streaming box. That's clearly not anything that exists on the market. Obviously, so what I'm saying is not an Xbox Series S or an Xbox One S or whatever.
Keystone is the stupidest.
Yeah, and it'll be something else. I'm glad
that's not. Xbox doesn't name their things, so
it'll be Xbox Cloud Streaming Stick or something like that. Yeah, but this is the big rumor thing. The fact that he is teasing this after it supposedly went through a bit of a redesign leads me to believe that we may get an announcement for this sucker pretty soon. And it might go on sale soon after it's announced. So I'm thinking this is a November item because right now Microsoft is throwing Xbox Series S's at anybody who can blink, because you go to every store, it's like $50 off, free controller, and a game and 6 months. And it's like, well, it's a great deal right now for the Series S and for Xbox. This device gets them even closer to that. And I think this is a Black Friday pickup for a lot of folks.
I guess I always, in the back of my mind, that this was going to be the device that sort of supplants the S in a way. Like it sort of feeds into that, where let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of as many of them as we can. But
does this supplant the S or does this supplant the Xbox One? Because I feel like the first order of business is supplanting the One. I mean, I know that we're not officially selling or producing more of the Xbox Ones, but what we're trying to do is prevent, or if I'm Xbox and I'm Microsoft, I'm like, okay, how do I make sure that nobody wants to buy an Xbox One, period? Because, for a period of time, we're still in that kind of weird range where games that are still coming to cross-gen, and Xbox One X is like kind of a tempting buy. So how do you replace those people instead with somebody who's going to buy a Keystone and then sub to Game Pass?
Well, and that just brought up an interesting point to me. Is Keystone like a multi-level product, or is it a single level where it's just a streaming box, right? I didn't think about, do you make a box that is capable of holding some digital, like, maybe not Series S games, but these sort of indie games that will blur the line between and can run on low spec machines. Is there 100 gigs of, storage in there or something to run some stuff locally, but basically rely mostly on the streaming part? Or is it completely streaming?
My gut, from a business perspective, it's 100% streaming. There's no guts on this thing. There's no internals.
Whatever memory is in this
very
thing
minimal
is there to
It's going to have exactly. It's going to have 16 gigs just so that it can onload multi-apps for streaming on top of video game stuff. You don't want to sell a device that's going to take up an HDMI slot that can't do your typical streaming apps. Exactly, your Netflixes, your Hulus, etc., etc.
Hulu, Amazon on there. You'll have that.
Right. And Microsoft's going to count on that for partnerships to be able to ship the device as well, pre-installed, and you make your business deals on that stuff as well. It's all going to come on it.
I guess my only question is, I mean, you mentioned Black Friday, right? So, like, what's the sell here? Like, what makes me buy this over something like a Google Chrome, 4K that can install the app, right? Or I can sideload the app. I guess sideload is sideload. So if you have
sideload's not a consumer. Sideloading is not a consumer proposition. So the consumer proposition is that you put this in the game console section. It doesn't go in the multimedia section. It goes in the console section, or I don't know who. I mean, if I'm Microsoft, I'm putting it in the console section, or I'm telling Best Buys and Targets of the world, this goes in the game section. Yeah. And you end cap it and say, hey, we also, it's an all-in-one streaming product as well.
Yeah, I mean this, but you got to keep in mind this will come with like one of the Xbox controllers.
Or an Xbox controller, right?
So it makes sense to sort of have.
There'll be two versions. There'll be one version that's just a stick for like us, and then one version that comes with the majority will be sold with the controller.
Boy, I will be interested to see what the attach rate is for gamers.
Sure.
Nobody, it is not for any four of us. Period.
I'm still gonna get it.
I mean, but that's different.
I have an old TV down here with my Xbox.
You are different. I am sitting in front of it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we're fucking broken when it comes to this technology shit. But it's not for us. Playing with it is different than well, I mean, I could play my Xbox on my guest bedroom TV if I needed to. If I'm snoring too loud and I get kicked out of the bed, I can still play.
Well, I mean, the cool thing about this is this becomes your travel Xbox. I mean, this is something I would carry this sucker with me. All you need to do is just get online, and if you could pair it with the Xbox app, which I'm sure it can. I'm
so fucking excited to play Forza Horizon 5 over hotel internet. It's gonna be great.
But the price point is going to be important. I mean, if it goes over 40, well, you're getting a controller in there.
Yeah, I'm saying
$99.99 with the controller.
Yeah, you're going to have to assume that by default this thing is going to come with a controller, and that makes this $100 box probably in general. $60 for the controller, $40 for the whatever box stick unit is that's still decent enough. $100. If that's the sweet spot that they can hit, that's the sweet spot they need to hit. But I don't know.
I just think communication on this is going to be very weird. You're going to have a product that
it's a tough sell.
Is weirdly priced. I mean, the point is to move it to the people who look at these streaming boxes and go, "Oh, I'd also like me some console games." And they get the 3 months free of Games Pass or whatever on it, and then when that expires, they can feel free to sub, I guess. You're talking about all these scenarios of taking it places. I'm worried that, some kid gets this box and it's like, oh, I bought you a new Xbox, and it's the streaming device, and then their internet can't, isn't capable of streaming. This is the hard thing about this. If there's nothing that they can do that's a purely good experience right out of the bat, this becomes e-waste almost immediately for people. So I just have a hard time thinking that it's not going to have storage on it to have something or run something locally. But I'm also with you in the same thing of why would you do that, especially if you're trying to get people out of that, Series S range, or not Series S range. I'm sorry. The Xbox One and the Xbox One S, the X and all that stuff. Yeah. Could you make a board of that size, small enough to fit in a box like this right now? Maybe if you did very well on your thermals, but then
I don't.
you're talking about a $200-$300 box. I think.
So here's the thing: is that Microsoft's not trying that hard to create a brand new SKU of console hardware, because that's what this is. If you're saying that it's going to natively run games on board, we're talking about a new console SKU, and there's no way that Microsoft's doing it. It's not going to happen. They're trying to get these out the door at sub $100, most likely sub like $50. I think that we're going to be looking in the neighborhood of $50 to $100.
Without a controller. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what price points for each one. My gut says that the sweet spot is that by Q1 23, these are going to be $50. And that's
it's going to be the thing that you pick up because I do need another controller and it's going to come with this fucking thing anyways. So
that's fair.
Yeah, it's literally going to be like a controller $60, the streaming stick and the controller is $100. Do I get the streaming stick and the controller so that I get the second controller and I have the ability to take the streaming stick with quick xCloud wherever I go? Yeah, probably, and that's what they're going to count on. And then
you also throw in a fucking phone clip in there, just this is the streaming package, so you can snap your phone to it while you're out.
But no, you're Sam said, you're gonna get a month. Maybe 3 months is a lot. But you'll definitely get 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate streaming, and I think that would be a good, and then you'll be able to say, by the way, if you have this, you can also play games on your PC that you already have to download on your other devices.
In my mind, they do sell this as a multimedia device and not a gaming device because a Microsoft branded Roku, it's a name people trust for better or worse is Microsoft. So to have it be Xbox branded and have it be sort of sold as a multimedia stick probably gets it into more houses in just a generic sense.
That's actually the hardest. That's the part where I can't quite figure out exactly. And what I'm most interested to learn is where they're going to try and land it from a branding perspective. Because the thing is that in the home streaming section, I would argue that it's more competitive than it is in the console section. In the console section, the small footprint and the multimedia focus is arguably a definer. I mean, yes, you have Roku. I mean, you have Hulu and you have Amazon and you have Netflix on all the home consoles, but the difference is that they're big. They're home consoles. They're not kind of streaming stick sized. So could this instead be, its small size be the defining factor of it in the gaming section?
I think I don't know. I think the hardest problem they're going to have if they market this strictly as a gaming device that does other things, is making people realize that this is a streaming only gaming device.
Right. Is that the reason to put it in the streaming stick section? Exactly. Is instead of this is the device that it streams stuff, but also it streams games.
Like you said, Taylor, the end caps, the register, the register locations. When you walk up to the register, these things sitting there. All of a sudden, you're thinking, you know what? I need a quick gift for my nephew. I'll just grab them this for.
So I mean, from the quick little. So I used to work. I worked at Best Buy for quite a while.
Same here.
Back in the day. So my end cap view is that. We're talking about aisle end cap. I don't think of it as register. I think aisle end cap. In the multimedia section, where wherever you find your Rokus and Amazon Fire Sticks. So it's in that kind of area of the store.
But I do see this as something again. I was just in Best Buy the other day picking up something, and that the lead up that they have coming up to the registers, especially around the holidays. I mean, they pack that aisle.
It's always whatever is grab and go is going to go there.
It's where you find your nests. You find your
that's where they keep you find everything. Yeah, it's where they keep the Kindle Fires and their Kindle little grab and go takeout boxes. And shit.
So I think with something like this, you guys are all saying the same. I think the same thing too. Or at least what I'm guessing is that how do you market this? If it's an Xbox, we talked about this before. You can't have something that takes up the spot of something that does the multimedia better. You can't have this take up the spot of the Apple TV. You can't have this take up the spot of an Amazon Fire Stick, or mostly because Amazon's going to pack their own crap into that. You have to do something much more. And Roku right now has their own channels. You have to include something beyond just gaming, something that's maybe Xbox only that can compel people. Because if you're saying, yeah, okay, you can get Hulu on this, you can get Netflix on this, you can get all your favorite giant streamers, and it's like, well, yeah, but I have like 50 other devices that already do this stuff and don't rely on streaming in the same way. It's like, it's a tougher sell. Yeah.
Well,
but it'll
like
sell.
for this kind of thing that they could really lean in on is you could easily lean in on the Madden crowd in a way. Not saying get Madden with it, although if you were to have something where it's like, oh, you get NFL Red Zone included.
There you go.
This. Or if you get the NBA, you get the, because if you bought the deluxe edition of NBA 2K23, it comes with a year of their streaming service.
Now there's something cool. Get these branded. Get a WWE. I hate to get a WWE one, but you can get stuff like that where this
Peacock,
is branded.
Get the Universal branded.
Universal brand. You can get those Minions and the Mario. You can get the Mario movie for free when it comes out streaming. No, I think there's definitely something to that point. They're selling these as branded.
Here's the thing. Nobody has cracked the nut on selling a streaming video games device yet.
No.
Many have come in, they've all failed and are currently starting to fail. Like that handheld that just came out is already failing. That the Stadia just shut down all their shit. OnLive had a console, it all shut down. Microsoft, this shit only works when it's included with the shit that you're already doing. So that's so far so good. So if Microsoft can figure out how to crack that nut, good for them.
My next story was gonna be Stadia, but I think it was just
fuck Stadia.
We knew it.
I'm
done with Stadia.
The biggest. I don't want to call. I was gonna say shame, but like, it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
Because whether it was a tech project that Google just wanted to push out so that it could. Here's the thing. There's been reports that have come out since that says, the nascent project nature of the way that Google works as far as an internal company is what's at fault. Whether it's that, whether it's Google wanting to find a way to, just a way to show off its ability to host cloud content in a hardware as well as a software fashion, whether that's it. Either way, there's other ramifications that affect the games industry at large, which is the amount of studios that Google swallowed up in order to accomplish this project in the first place, and just kind of the negative consequences overall that were just arguably not worth the bullshit that everybody went through for what was inevitably Google creating a product with a very, very terrible monetization policy that was doomed to fail from the first place. GeForce Now came up kind of side by side with Stadia, offered a very similar package, except, hey, log in with your existing accounts and keep all the games that you already own and also stream them. And Stadia was like, oh, how about that, except use a Chromecast and also buy the games. And you're like, I don't know, which one am I going to pick?
Yeah. And it wasn't even like, it was one very specific Chromecast that they outdated like almost immediately and then did an update to use fucking Stadia. Like, it's the most Jesus Christ, those guys. They constantly do this, and we constantly fall for it.
No, I mean, this is why I think this is why I know the four of us, and others on SideQuesting, it feels like everybody in the gaming industry said the same thing, which was this is just another Google experiment, and that none of us had faith that this was going to. The problem with Google is that they're too big of a company, and they are so willing to pull the plug. It's the fast to fail idea.
Yeah.
If something looks like it's even faltering, they're like, yeah, pull the plug, whatever. We got plenty of billions of dollars to wipe that away, and it doesn't affect our bottom line because we have AdSense and search.
Yeah.
And it's
like Alphabet's not like hurting for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Stadia's closure did absolutely nothing to the bottom line of Alphabet, so who gives a shit?
Exactly. And so I feel like a smaller company, were they to do this, they would have potentially lasted a little bit longer. I think of if there's a company to do it, Xbox is maybe, because they're a little bit more geared towards this software aspect. But I hate to say Netflix and Disney, but Netflix and Disney could make something like this work if they get their tech up.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, Stadia.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that if Netflix and Disney wanted to do it, they would have already been working on it, and they would have said something about any indication that it was happening. Netflix wouldn't be doing what they've been doing in the gaming space. Like they would have been doing something different for what their approach to gaming has been, other than what it we saw it recently. What was it? Was it this year that we saw the Netflix gaming thing?
Yeah,
and you know what? There's a little gaming mini section within Netflix's UI, and that's it.
I mean, think about it. I was gonna say, if Netflix wanted to get into, they could have put out a streaming stick, a Netflix branded fucking stick, and have destroyed the market. They never did, because that's not what they care. That's not their fucking what they want. That's not what they're interested in. And I feel
I don't know. I feel like Netflix chose the path that they wanted to take and left all the other ones behind, and I don't see them circling back to say we're gonna do game streaming now. I don't know. I just don't see it. I felt like their inclusion of gaming is an IP focused inclusion and nothing beyond. Here's our IP. Let's make games of those things that they see themselves making stories and creating value in that way only. Whether or not that's right is a different story.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. There are way more important things to talk about, such as games that we're actually playing. And I wanted to get into some of these games. I'm trying to find some videos of some things we can look at. But who should we start with? Should we go with the fun stuff first? With Dabu J, you've got a game you're reviewing that's actually allowed to. You could talk about.
Yeah, the embargo went up today, so I guess
let's share that. We'll go with that one first.
Yeah,
because Sam has something very interesting as well. He's got a secret game. I don't know what Taylor's got, but and I'm just gonna do a PowerPoint presentation. Here we go. What game are you playing?
Atari Mania. This year I hate that.
I can't believe you're playing something with Atari, dog.
I know.
I'm astounded.
Especially since I've at least said fuck Atari at least 2 or 3 times on this podcast.
And yet Yars Recharged is a pretty
Yars Recharged kicked ass, man.
The history.
This sucks. This game sucks. I got upset every time I booted this up to play it some more. It's their anniversary special. It's not the compilation that's coming out later that it's the 50th anniversary is what we're doing right now.
Yep.
This is their sort of like us celebrating 50 years of Atari history by making the worst WarioWare game we can. It has the conceit of you are basically Ben Stiller in Night at the Museum. You're watching over a museum of Atari artifacts and things, and some crazy shit starts happening, and you're there to sort of like, oh, there's dead pixels on the ground, and it starts sucking up the Atari like exhibits and starts mashing them into these mini games. And so like you end up fighting these bosses that make you go through like a WarioWare style, you know how it is, where it's just like you're going to play through about 10 games and then fight a boss. And that's how they are, except the games are all sort of like these crazy mashups of several games in one. And it has this aesthetic sucks. It's trying to be sort of like a modern day, like Atari look, where it's like 4-bit Atari blockiness, but like with an updated aesthetic. And it's just, it never looks good. And when you play the games themselves, they all share this, they have like a unified aesthetic amongst everything. And it just, like, it doesn't work. And some of the mashups make absolutely zero sense. Like there's one that I always think of that's you're just like, sometimes it's just you're playing Breakout, and other times it's like, oh, you're the Pong paddle, and there's a bunch of other Pong paddles and a bunch of red balls bouncing around, and you just have to move your Pong paddle around to not hit any of the red balls. And you have to do this for 10 seconds because it's a micro game from like WarioWare. And then you're done, and then it goes on to the next game, and it's just the most mind-numbing, and everything controls like it's in mud. Nothing's snappy. So like you're playing Breakout, but like you're sort of used to the paddle physics from Breakout. It hasn't really changed in the 40 years that Breakouts existed. But for whatever reason, it just feels like you're like dragging it as kicking and screaming across the board. None of them play well. None of them look well. All of the mashups are just like the ones that work are just basically the same, like the game. Like this is just Breakout, but instead it like there's a spider from Centipede running towards you, or whatever. It's just a nightmare. I cannot recommend this game at all. It is just the pits. I would much rather
and
play
not Pitfall.
Yeah, no, that's Activision. So, or no, Intellivision. Don't you dare try to get Pitfall into this. But yeah, I don't know. All of the recharged games are infinitely better than this. Yeah, so look. If you saw this, you would have no idea what the hell is going on with a lot of these games.
I mean, something with Centipede.
But it's not Centipede. It's like an archery thing, and it's like, chances are you're actually controlling the bug in this particular screenshot, not the spider, but the dragonfly, because there are ones where you don't have to like.
I mean, here's my thing: is that like Atari doesn't really have enough to make a micro game.
Well, they just smash it, because like the main enemy of this game is like Bernard Bear, which is just like the Crystal Castles character that's gone rogue and stuff, and it's just like, I couldn't tell you what this minigame is because they reuse the assets for everything too. This could be the one where you're supposed to shoot down the other character, or there's a good chance that some stupid bullshit's happening in this that they don't have in this screenshot, which is also a possibility, like dodge the pong balls or something. But yeah, this one is just a shooter. You're just shooting stuff. That one was simple enough. The writing is the one kind of that strong suit in this game. It's actually pretty funny overall. But like this isn't a example of that writing. But overall, it's just yeah. Back to this fucking screenshot again. I wish I could have taken somewhere. I've got videos and stuff that I might have to share with you, because some of these games are just absolute nonsense, and like not in a fun way. Like WarioWare's nonsense is silly, goofy, but understandable nonsense. This stuff is just like, let's just throw some shit in a blender, and if the game works, the game works. If it doesn't, it's not our problem. So nobody's gonna buy this. This isn't like anyone's. This is just one of those games. It's our 50th anniversary. We got to push something out. It's very old school video game.
We were contractually obliged to to put this out.
Yeah, it's a bummer of a game, man. But the Atari collection that's coming out looks good.
I got that pre-ordered.
That looks like it's going to be solid. So of the
digital Eclipse as well.
Yeah, of the 2 anniversary things of this year, that's the one that's probably going to be the winner between the 2, and all of the recharged games. They're remaking one of the recharged games already.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god!
Because the original one didn't have Missile Command, didn't have any of the stuff that came with later versions of recharged games. So it's like, instead of just like updating it, we're just going to make a new version of it. You get a discount.
Missile Command recharged.
Yeah, and it's just like if you bought the previous one, you get a discount. We've added all of the stuff that the following recharged games included. We've redesigned it from the ground up, but so
anything else you're playing?
Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2. Okay.
Technically playing Overwatch 2.
As much as somebody could be playing it right now.
Overwatch 2. I'm also playing it on the Switch because I'm an idiot.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
I downloaded it on as well. I had not started it though.
I didn't even know it was available on the Switch.
Yeah, baby, free to play.
Wait, they put 2 on the Switch?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's where I've been playing it. It's the only market, because if you try to if you try to download Overwatch 2, everywhere you go, it kind of defaults you to the $40 Founders Edition, except on the Switch, it defaults you to the free-to-play one. It's very funny.
the only version that works because nobody's on it.
Yeah, you laugh, but that's pretty much true. Day one, I had a much easier time getting into a game on Overwatch 2 on the Switch than I did on my
Catch
PC.
Me watching over. Catch me watching.
It's I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Overwatch. It's fine. It always was fine.
It's what it is.
This is the same game with less characters on a team. Yeah, I like Overwatch. I like the aesthetic of Overwatch. I like the gameplay of Overwatch, even though I'm not a big multiplayer guy, and I'm gonna be tired of it pretty much by the time the weekend's over. Or my weekends are different. But yeah, that's Overwatch 2 is fine. It's free to play. You could do a lot worse than booting up Overwatch 2 and getting in a few rounds for a minute or two, and then do what you do with Overwatch. It's all the same, man. And I got my Steam Deck.
You got your Steam Deck. So I wanted to tie a little bit about what your Steam Deck experience is, and Taylor, because Taylor got some fun Steam Deck stuff. Did you get your dock yet? No? Oh, I thought you already got it.
No, I was supposed to. They lied to me.
Oh, man. Now, if you had a streaming device, potentially you could just plug that into the TV.
Yeah.
Then you'd be totally fine.
Wow.
Jump scare.
That was a good
all right. Steam Deck. So give me a quick impression so far of the Steam Deck.
I can play Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in my bed.
The good one. Awesome.
Yeah, in my bed. And then play some Metal Gear Solid 5 on the toilet, and life's good. Street Fighter 4 did not launch, so 0 out of 10.
Really?
I booted it up and it just black screened me, and I'm like,
it worked fine for me.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay.
I'm sure it's.
I guess it is just like a PC where it's perfect for somebody, and for somebody else it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I deleted it, and I planned on downloading it again just to say it's like, it's PC. It could have just been a bad download. So
it may have been a bad download.
But cool. I mean, like, I've been just trying to figure out like what my perfect Steam Deck library is. Like, what's the games that I just need to have on here at all times, and that's just where I'm at. And so far, it includes Metal Gear Solid 5, No Man's Sky, racing games, and Spider-Man.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Spider-Man works great on it. I don't know if anyone played Spider-Man on the Steam Deck, but man, it works great on that thing. It's great to play Spider-Man that way.
Every video game should be portable. I mean, it's amazing but true, because that's how I've been playing these big giant JRPGs. Like, I can't do that if it's plugged into a TV. I can't. I gotta play it portable. That's why I love the Steam Deck.
I mean, that kind of has been the grand story of Steam Deck. Has been like, because the reality is that, okay, can you settle for 30 FPS? And if the answer to that is yes, then boy, do we have good news for you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that's Steam Deck.
It's like the only time that the FPS thing really, really, really hurts me. Like I can cope with 30 frames per second for the most part. But when it's a racing game, I need it to be at least 60 frames per second. When it's not, I notice immediately. It's just
so for anything, JJ, where you put it to 60 and it's like, oh no, there's frame drops, and this is actually now hampering my experience. Try the 40/40 trick. I don't know if you've seen this. So the 40/40 is surprisingly, you're like, oh, this isn't 60, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll hear more about it over the coming weeks and months, as now everybody on staff except for Zach has a Steam Deck.
Although that might not be for long, we'll see.
Yeah, it's true. Yep. And JJ wasn't going to get one. All of a sudden, he's like, I ordered a Steam Deck. And then like a day later, I got my Steam Deck. Hand delivered it to you. Taylor, what have you got? Anything special?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull up the list.
And then we'll move to Sam after that.
2 weeks ago, Sam tortured me and Taylor.
Yeah, sure.
True.
I mean, we can do another guess on that if we'd like to hold that.
We'll see if it'll really be worth it. All right. So I'll start with the small stuff first. I played because it's Steam Next Fest. I've only gotten into really one game. I hopped on with a buddy. I played Ship of Fools.
Oh, cool.
The demo. So it's a co-op roguelike or roguelite, where you're on a ship. There's four positions where a cannon can go, and then there's 3 spots where you can put the power-ups for your ship, whether that's ammo to replenish or some passive power-ups. And then you kind of go along, you choose the route like you do in many roguelites, and then you have to shoot the cannon at things and make sure that your ship doesn't burn. And it was a lot of fun for a co-op game, especially for the kind of 40 minutes that we got in a little demo there. There's melee combat as well in case the enemies come on board. Pretty well defined for
pretty nice aesthetic.
The aesthetic's good. Like everything works for what you would when you hop onto a demo like this and it's co-op, you're like, okay, we've got something that's already kind of on its way. So you saw the snippets of what the map looks like there. So that's what we expect for roguelikes at this point on kind of how they maneuver. But yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
In that same vein, Unrailed is a game that's also a co-op roguelike. That was free on Epic a while back. It had been on my Steam wishlist for a while because I like roguelikes and I also like playing co-op games, and so naturally it was on my wishlist. I've been playing that with a buddy for the past week, and for a 2-button game, it's it's move and pick up and put down, and that's it. Everything else is just by proximity. I guess there's technically a dash button. That's what the second button is. Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I was walking past the booth at PAX East years ago, and they said, "Dolly, you got to take a look at this game," because nobody had stopped by to take a look at it because train games really weren't popular at the moment. And they said, "This isn't really a train game. This is like this mad co-op experience."
It's definitely not a train game. Like the train is just kind of like the background.
It really is. But
and
I was kind of glued to it. I'm like, oh my god, this game is really interesting, and I could not.
It is fun. It's fun. So it's just been me and one of my buddies playing it, and there are there's real strategies associated with it. It's also like difficult. We've kind of crashed a bunch of times. It's a lot of fun. Other than that, hold on. I'm just going through my various game launchers to make sure that I haven't forgotten anything.
Transportation. You got ships. You got trains.
I completely forgot about. I completely forgot about the Steam Next Fest, and it's like, oh, I could have talked about a lot more things.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
We've already passed you. It's too late.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up my Xbox to make sure I didn't play anything from Game Pass lately. Sable leaves in 5 days. I should finish that. No, nothing else in. Okay, so I guess that's it. All right. So lastly, and this is 2 weeks in the making because technically the embargo lifted on September 27th, which was Dome Keeper. So we got a code for Dome Keeper, and I've been playing it a lot. Hold on, let me pull up Dome Keeper. How much time do I have in Dome Keeper? I got 20 hours in Dome Keeper, which, like, on one hand, maybe is not that much considering the date that I just released, but keep in mind how stretched my time is, which is not very much. And Dome Keeper is really, really solid of a video game. It is. So the general, I'll describe it. So your dome crash lands. You're trying to mine resources. That's the whole premise. It's kind of dig dug where you've got to drill down. There's various strata. The deeper you go, the harder it is to dig. But within kind of each layer of strata, there's different hardness of rock. So sometimes you'll have soft rock in the top strata. Sometimes you'll have soft rock in the second strata. So you can kind of see where it would overlap, where it might take 3 hits to hit something in the top layer. But if you find the soft stuff down lower, it'll still only take 3 hits. But the hard stuff in the top level takes way less hits than the hard stuff in the lower levels. And then so you find resources, you upgrade your dome, you upgrade the weapons to prevent you from getting completely beaten by the stuff that's trying to break your dome because you crash landed on their planet and are trying to steal all of their stuff. But from a game perspective, Dome Keeper is just like, I don't know, it's like pure good game stuff. It's so simple, but refined in the same stroke. So it's a pure time versus. I don't know, it's like how much are you going to spend, digging versus defending, and where are you going to put your precious resources to upgrade your various resources, or how are you going to spend your various resources? Are you going to make yourself be able to dig faster? Or are you going to make yourself be able to defend better? And it just works really, really well. The roguelike portion of the game, it's by playing it more, you don't necessarily make yourself more powerful in the next run. But what you do is give yourself more options, which in some ways is more powerful because, if you have a bad combination of upgrades, sometimes that can feel weaker. But it's not like by playing more, you say, okay, well, now you can, now upgrading is more efficient. Or, it's not like that kind of game, like Rogue Legacy, where, the next time that you play, your character is just literally more powerful. It's not like that. But what it is you learn more as you play, and then the next time you might have access to a different upgrade path, which might make the game a little bit more straightforward for you. Yeah, I don't know. Dome Keeper's really good. I find it, especially for anybody that likes roguelike games, hard to not recommend. It is a standout for sure.
It's just good game design.
Right? Yeah. It's just pure. Yeah. Then that was exactly. That's what really made it stand out to both. I think everybody that was at PAX East was that you sat down for 30 minutes and you knew within the first 5 exactly what you were doing, and within the first 10 that you wanted to keep playing it. Like, that's kind of the progression is, exactly what you're going to do, and you're like, okay, now it's good, and it doesn't take that long to go from one to the other.
Yep. Good game. Dome Keeper.
And that's all I've been playing this week.
Excellent. Well, I'm gonna hop in real quick with a game I've been playing, but then we're gonna transition to Sam with his ultra secret stuff. So I've actually been playing a game. I completed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I've been doing a little bit of other things here and there, and then I realized, I had the before I dive into Xenoblade 3, I've got to finish the DLC for Xenoblade 2, and I had bought the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country, as a separate standalone game thing. So it's about a 17-hour game if you're sort of just kind of running through the story with minimal side quests and stuff. And then it can get all the way up to like 30, 35 hours with all the extra side quests and things. So for those folks that have never played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there's a lot of gacha involved where you're kind of collecting these things called blades. You're a driver. You collect the blade, which is sort of your extra weapon character. It's like a companion that plays along with you, an AI. And so Torna takes away all the gacha stuff and just puts these blades right in your party. And you can actually control them in this game. It's actually kind of cool. It's a much more, because they've had to pare it down and scale it down to the size. You can't make another like 60-hour game, of course. They took out all that extra like stuff that people didn't like, the gacha aspect, and just said, hey, you get these blades.
Oh my god, we can just make a video game. It's crazy.
And so obviously you go around the world still feels giant, but it's smaller areas that you're in. I'm about 11 hours, 12 hours into the game right now. I'm zipping along because I like to get OP very quickly and jack up my experience levels and then go, continue afterwards. But even a game that's from 2018 is when this first came out. It still looks really good. I mean, one thing about the Monolith Soft, they know how to do game design. I think like Final Fantasy, like visuals, Final Fantasy, what's the guy's name? Is it Nomura? Nomura-san did some character designs for this and for Xenoblade 2. And so, yeah, no, it just kind of fills in a little bit of the backstory of the characters that you meet throughout Xenoblade 2. So after I had my 120 hours into Xenoblade 2, you play this game. Functions the same way, battles the same way. The only rub against it is that half of the missions that you have to do are legit fetch quests. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, I know we have to figure out how this guy is about to blow up the planet. But this base is hungry. Can you get 5 acorns and 6 trout, please? And that's the only way to progress the story, is to get 5 acorns and 6 trout. And it's like, yeah, the world's on fire, but I'm gonna go after these acorns. It's like, you guys didn't really need to do that. But other than that, I'm actually I'm really enjoying just how compact this game is. So yeah, good stuff. Hey, let's move on to Sam. Sam the man. What do you want to talk about? Because you want to go right into the secret game, or did you want to talk about something else?
No, I mean, we can just talk about the secret. So we're gonna do the real secret game, right? The what I told you last week.
Yeah, the one you told me. Yep.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, so let's
Remind me. Hold on, before we go on. Remind me. Like I remember, you gave us the criteria. Hey, paint me the picture before you give me the title.
Sure, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I don't remember the clue I gave you last time off air.
It was survival horror and mid 2000, early to mid
2016 to 2020. I think is the range I gave you.
Yeah.
So let's well, first of all, I think I'm gonna start a reoccurring segment every time I'm on the show because I'm not on the show very often, and I think that's gonna be called something about like angering the gamers TM or something like that, like. I don't know exactly what it's going to be called, but let's start. And I'm going to say right off the bat that I am being 100% sincere with everything that I'm about to say about.
Should I load the video for this and then get it going?
Well,
go ahead.
I'll reveal the name and then you can show it. So, this game that I'm about to talk about is not really a sequel, but a follow-up to one of the best games of this generation, and running on one of the best, probably technical engines that were created during this time.
Take a guess.
What?
This game was received critically poorly, and was also maybe controversial, I'd say, upon its release. This game, of course, being Metal Gear Solid Survive.
Oh my god, dude! Was Metal Gear Solid Survive a survival horror?
Yeah,
yeah.
It was like
survival horror X tower defense.
It's like Rust.
Hey, if you read the original pitch for what Fortnite was supposed to be before Battle Royale, you would have almost the exact same premise.
Are you talking about?
Survive? I'm sorry.
Save the World? Hello?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yes, Fortnite Save the World.
I am still waiting. I'm still waiting for the free version of Save the World to launch. By the
way, regardless of epic sins, this sin was committed by Konami. While Kojima, most people forget, it started life while Kojima was still at Konami.
Still there.
But he said that he wasn't a part of it because he did not see zombies within the Metal Gear universe.
which I love to include, because you know for a fact if he saw zombies potentially coexisting, he'd be like, "Yeah, I would do this."
Yeah.
So
it's like the only reason why it didn't happen.
So let me give you the pitch.
But also, like, Metal Gear Solid 5 did have the wandering puppets, which weren't that far removed from zombies.
Listen, if the zombies were instead a result of nanomachines, boom, it would have been fine.
Give us your pitch.
So what we need to keep in mind is that this game released in 2018. And it was a fresh time that Kojima had like just gone and left Konami. It was very public. It was very brutal. And what doesn't help is that this game basically is basically a mod on Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, there's no way around it. They reuse both maps in that game. The only thing they don't reuse is like the mother base template. Everything else, there's Africa. There's is it Afghanistan? Is that where they're at? Afghanistan, yeah. So everything's reused except for some animations are brand new because there's poking weapons in this game and such. So it's pitched as a co-op survival game. And in some aspects it is. And in some aspects it absolutely isn't. So you can play co-op from almost the word go. But to get access to the different classes in the game and to what is the best weapons and a completely different game type that you can't play until you beat what is the normal single player story. And that story is roughly like 15 to 20 hours long. So there's that. However, what's there is actually a decent game, because it's running on the Fox engine, so the engine performs very well. It's using Metal Gear Solid 5's movement system, and guess what? That was pretty good. And it's using all of its mechanics, as you can see in this trailer that we're watching, as well as some third-person action stuff with sticks and machetes and hammers and all types of weapons. And it's insane how good the game is to actually play with friends online. It is $6. They are still releasing not content updates, but seasonal like sort of events and stuff like that within. And
are they really?
It's still played online pretty significantly. And it gets sold for $6 on PSN occasionally. And basically every other platform that it's on. I think that this game is actually really good. It weirdly, I wonder, it's very strange playing the game in the retrospect that Death Stranding has come out since this, because there is stuff in that game, in Metal Gear Survive, that if you would have told me they had built thinking that they were making Death Stranding after Metal Gear Solid 5 and didn't get a chance to, and that was just in the engine and they used it in this, I'd believe you. There is some like wild stuff that like I don't know. I highly recommend either looking up the story of this game or playing it for yourself. I actually don't I don't actually ask you to sit through it yourself. The acting is terrible. But it does try to do Metal Gear stuff, which is the funniest thing ever, because it does Metal Gear stuff in the same way that like a high schooler draws anime characters from watching Dragon Ball Z. And it's kind of dope, like in the same way that
what a way to describe a video game.
You know how
yes, I know exactly what you mean. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, you know, 1 in 5 of those kids is now like has, you know, is drawing pony stuff that's doing really well. But like, you know, that kid, you could see back then they were like, you're like, whoa, dude, your drawing of Vegeta was very good. And that's what Metal Gear Survive is. It is the cool drawing of anime that your friend did in high school, and now now he makes webcomics or something, and has a really good Patreon that's working out for him.
Sells a lot of stickers at the convention center.
Yeah, this game is easy to come by. The servers are still online. And even if the servers get pulled, I still think there's enough like single player stuff. Because what's wild is like the game spends like basically what is the main story of this game is just setting up how to play this game for New Game Plus or whatever like post game they want to call it. So like the first like 20 hours is just here's how you go out into the world and get resources. This is how you build a base. This is how you defend your base. Uh-oh, we took your base away from you to do missions. Oh, we gave you your base back. This is cool. Now do this online, but way more frantically with way more danger because now you have 4 people. And you start with like pokey weapons and, oh, I've got a bow and arrow too. Now all of a sudden I have a bow and arrow that can shoot elemental arrows. I have guns that have elemental types to them. There's like monsters that have elemental shields and elemental stuff on them. It's a survival and tower defense game. Honestly, if you loved what the pitch was for Save the World was for Fortnite, this is that. This is that game. That game exists for you, and it's $6.99 on PSN or whatever thing during any sale that comes up. I guarantee you there's going to be a fall sale. If this game is not $6.99, I'll pay the difference. I promise you. Like it's going to be available, and
I'll pay the difference.
You can play it on PlayStation, and they still have. You'll sign in, and you'll get a sign-in bonus because it's like thanks for coming in online. And you know, if you sign in enough, here you get a skin for Big Boss from a real Metal Gear game that you do love. So, like.
We're gonna get this game trending again.
It's insane. Yeah. I highly recommend playing it. I'm not saying. Let me say right now, if you're a Metal Gear fan and you're gonna go into this thinking this is a Metal Gear game, you're wrong. It's not. It is a mod that is using one of the best games of the last generation to provide you a mediocre story with a 7.5 at best gameplay loop.
That's 7 out of 10, man.
If you can get enough people to play that 7.5 with you, it becomes a 9. So
that is true.
Yeah. Because you're playing a more aggressive version of Metal Gear 5 where stealth is an option, but you're most likely going to be aggression, right? Like that's your choice. And then there's a class system. You want to be the archer ranger of the game? You can be. You want to be like the tech guy who builds all the defenses and has like spinny saw blade things and electrical fences and barricades that will push zombies in specific directions. Like, it's nuts. This game is a tower defense like co-op dream, and got looked over and shamed because it was a quote unquote cash money grab. That was just reusing
quotes. It was,
which it absolutely was, but it's a good one.
So I can assure you, so is the majority of Konami's other projects.
I would say that it was overlooked, and if you and your friends are looking for a game that isn't constantly crashing online the day it comes out, because it's been out for 4 odd years at this point, it's stable, baby. Go and play it. Honestly, there's stuff to do. There's stuff to unlock.
Baby.
Meet me in the fields.
Meet me in the fields, baby.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Shocker of shockers.
Jesus.
It's not like you have a lot of choices for your Metal Gear gameplay on PC,
right?
So
yeah, especially right now, yeah, with all the great work that Konami's doing, getting that back, yeah.
Well, yeah, Konami's really pushing for it. They're really going to make stuff happen.
And if the Fox engine only gets used for like 3 projects, the least you can do is engage with those 3 projects. And I know you're not engaging with the pachinko machine, so get on Metal Gear Survive.
If only.
I just opened up Steam on my phone and it's $30 right now. So
there you go.
It will go on sale.
You got $24 coming your way.
I'll add it to my wish list so I get the email.
I also cannot tell you. I guarantee you it's not cross save or cross progression, because that would be too much. But I don't know what it's going to be on PC. But I can tell you PSN sold it for $6.99.
Probably on Stadia. That would have saved Stadia if it was on there. Just embed Metal Gear Survive. Well, speaking of games to play on your PC, in a horrible segue, when you're at your PC, you're probably sitting on something. All right. JJ, what are you sitting on your when you're podcasting with us?
I'm my butt. What do you mean?
Okay.
You mean my horrible, awful gamer chair that was designed for cars, not 3 hours on a podcast.
Yeah, our podcast will last 3 hours. So you have a gamer chair you bought. Why'd you buy it?
Because it looks
Cheers.
Cool.
Ryan Gannon says cheers. Yes.
Literally only bought it because of the aesthetics. That is 100% the only reason.
It is
you think this pillow does anything? No.
Taylor, what are you sitting on?
Kind of I guess the logo doesn't show up. I'm sitting on the Herman Miller Embody.
Love it. There you go. Someone's getting cash money, but this worth it.
I invested in myself.
Good, because if you don't invest in your chair, right now your back is going to pay for it, and you should invest in your body early on by getting yourself a good chair. Ryan says he got an IKEA chair. It's just fine. Sell me on a good one. I got
good, did it?
Go ahead. I got the Secret Lab Titan that I'm sitting on.
I was telling Gally beforehand, because I know this whole bit that we're doing. But, how I actually play games would make everyone very upset, and it's the fact that I don't use a chair at all. I sit on the fucking floor like a child.
like the Sam lost it.
I just like how he presented that. I was also thinking in my head the absolute worst way to be like, and this is where I game is like if you set up like a Walmart kiosk at your house and you had the controller locked in position, you had to look up straight to play
standing, looking upwards.
He has one of those old like GameStop Nintendo Super Nintendo seconds. Sam, what do you
all of my systems are in a plastic dome.
I also sit in a I was gonna.
Fuck chair, nice.
No, I didn't want to cuss. I've been trying to cut back. I'm sitting in a chair that is a knockoff. I guess gamer racer chair.
Okay.
But also because I was promised on the lower back lumbar support, which I'll say to this chair's credit, lower back lumbar is fine. The problem on this chair is there is absolutely no ass cushion. And I've got
you never do.
I've got and if the cat with the bread doesn't give it away, I have an absolute donk. So like I
big old donk,
that like gets some support, and this chair's got to go at some point here soon. But the problem is, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, how much is that Secret Labs chair?
How much? This Secret Lab chair was $399, and which is actually it's about right in the middle price wise in terms of
amazing.
So let's talk about gamer chairs. I've been talking about them. Let me hide that. I'm gonna leave the
Sam's tumescent looking at this right
now. This is Sam. Get the towel. No, so I designed.
Where do you even put that?
For a living.
That's the problem.
There you go. I design seats for a living. Car chairs, car seats that people sit in. This is miserable. This is totally a freaking. This is a Red Bull branded.
It looks like you're supposed to put your legs in stirrups or something. Like you're gonna get examined.
So people talk about gamer chairs, and everyone has this like he likes grandma's Boy Santa. We talked about the ones that we own, which are very car looking. Well, I want to talk to you guys about why. First of all, why seats are the way they are. The history. A lot of folks. I was listening to a couple podcasts recently. Read a couple articles. People don't know where gamer chairs come from, why they look the way they. Yes, we do. I'll tell you. I'll explain right now. Then I'll tell you what you need to look for in a gamer chair, and finally, I'll give you a couple options of what that is. So first and foremost, let's stick off to the side. Yeah. It all starts here. The Grand Track 10 1974 Atari racing game. Now there were other racing games, and there have been other mechanical car racing things in the past since like 1900. Pole position. The big thing about this one, steering wheel and shifter, right? So there's even the little pedals on the ground too. Now this game is very simple. You're just kind of running around a track. It's like the early RC Pro-Am single screen. Just avoid the oil slick. But the fact that it used a steering wheel, because people wanted to feel as if they're actually driving a car. It became really popular, right? Really popular in arcades. So much so that Pole Position 2, and that came out in 83, they had the whole they already had the rig set up, right? By the time, not even 10 years later, you were sitting inside a vehicle with the shifter, with the steering wheel, and, enjoying this racing experience. Well, that started getting really popular. Indy 500 in 89, I have this game. I had the game on my old Tandy. I think this is the Amiga version that they're showing there. It is the first real sim racing game, and it has like all the freaking bells and whistles of the time, and more so in terms of just information about the vehicle, speeding up, slowing down, changing gears, going, it's very quote unquote realistic at the time. And this was on PC. It was at home. They started thinking, we want to bring that realistic experience. Well, you can't really sit on a stool or a dining room chair. And remember back then, there was no such thing as a home office. It was literally, you're sitting in the den. So you're probably sitting in like something with 4 legs or, a dining chair.
It's got wicker on it. Whatever.
Exactly. About a year or so later, the infamous Thrustmaster came out. And the Thrustmaster, I remember when this came out, everybody was losing their minds. You can now play racing games. You can play this game from a few years earlier as if you were actually in the car. Steering wheel. They used to have the life-size steering wheels, realize, yeah, you don't need anything that big. Steering wheel, shifter, pedals. Now, all of a sudden, people could race at home. And those early racing games, like I said, they allowed for peripherals like this. It wasn't just controllers and joysticks and mouse and keyboard. People actually wanted to mount these things. So folks were early on mounting stuff, because a lot of times computers are still plugged into the TVs in your homes, like the Commodores and stuff were plugged in. People were mounting these to coffee tables. I remember going to my buddy's house in like 93, 94. He had these things mounted his coffee table, and whenever his parents wanted to watch TV, he'd disassemble this whole thing and take it away. So they started saying, what if we have these sticks? I want the actual car experience, right? I want to be in an actual car. Let me buy some bucket seats. So there's like some documented evidence out there that shows that people started buying, not only buying, but they were raiding garbage dumps and places with beat up cars and just taking the old car seats and bringing them home, racing seats, bringing them home and mounting them to plywood rigs and setting these things up so that they could have this car experience. That was like really dedicated fans, right?
You back in this time frame, you could look in the back of certain magazines and see people selling these like kits out of their garage and stuff. Yeah.
Totally. And junkyard. People with junkyard hop and go get seats. Let me tell you a little bit about seats first and foremost, right? You got the head restraint in the car seat, shoulder support. Those big old holes in there are really for the harness to come through. 5-point harness, because it's a racing seat. You have those, people call them wings. They're actually called bolsters, right? Yeah. Cushion bolster, seat back bolsters. They protect you from going side to side and making turns in high speeds. The lumbar on a seat, the lumbar is probably the most crucial thing next to the recline. The recline pivot, speaking of which, that's the point where the seat back reclines from the cushion. And then we have these things in the actual aesthetic portion called the tie downs. And what they are is the shit that holds the material to the seat, usually to the foam or to the frame or whatever. All of this makes a car seat, makes a racing seat, right? You need to have all this stuff in there. You can have molded seats that kind of accomplish some of these things, but all of this is what gives you a comfortable seat. But they're important. They're designed that way because a car fucking moves. You're not in a fucking car in your house. Like I said, people started mounting these car and racing seats to all these accessories. And like you said, JJ, they were building up these rigs. People are selling these rigs. I went to, businesses and office spaces were putting these things together. My company, in the early 2000s, when the first Forza games are coming out, racing games, PS2 games, Gran Turismo, we had rigs like this set up in our office that we had purchased with the seats that we built up, old seats that we were going to throw out. We were just kind of pitching them on there. We had these little racing rigs that created at lunchtime, and we would play PS2. So gaming chairs were essentially car seats, because nobody was looking for a specific chair outside of this type of thing, right? Otherwise you just sat in an office chair, or you sat on your couch, or like a man child, you sat on your floor, JJ.
Oh, crisscross applesauce.
Eventually people said, you know what? I don't want to take up all the space, so I'm just going to mount this to my old dumb Meyer or IKEA chair base. I'm just going to jam that post up into the seat. Bam. So in front of a computer, people were taking these racing seats, putting the pedestals, putting them on the pedestals. Task chairs, which are typical office chairs, which you have in every office, way more comfortable, far more comfortable, but they're designed for an office, and we want the look and feel of a racing game. Again, let me take it back. Racing seats look this way because they're important for safety, because a car fucking moves. You don't need bolsters on your seat. You don't need a head restraint on your seat. You don't need location for a harness. You don't need shoulder support on your seat. You need a fucking comfortable seat. You don't know what comfort is, bruh, right? You don't know what comfort is. One more reminder. You don't know what comfort is. Get a good chair. Get a good chair. So how long do you sit at your desk? JJ, when you're sitting at a desk throughout the day, what are the typical stretches? Obviously, this podcast is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So,
this is the longest. This is the longest I'll sit at a desk. I work in an office.
Okay.
I don't work in a typical office environment.
Good.
I'm on my feet most of the time.
So you're on your feet most of the time. So when you're sitting, it's really for a focus. When you're gaming, do you typically sit in a gaming chair or on the ground? You sit on the ground.
On the ground. I have.
He's got perfectly good floor space.
Yeah.
That's on the ground.
That's on the ground. I got a nice cushion. I got stuff going on
here. Taylor, you're in a very nice chair. How many hours a day are you sitting in front of a computer?
Probably on average at least 12.
12 hours a day. Sam, how about yourself?
Yeah, probably be like 6 to 8.
Yep, same. You got an 8-hour workday and then workday and leisure. For most of us, it's workday and leisure, right? 6 to 8 plus extra. You're in a chair for a long fucking time. Don't fuck with your back. The most important thing you can do with your chair, with your life, I'm not even kidding you, for your health, is get a good chair because you're sitting the whole time. Don't get those underseat exercise things. They don't work. People try to put the stupid treadmills. They try to put the little, the elliptical shit. Don't. Just get a good chair because your body is always moving. Now, these are things you must have. I put the Secret Lab Titan in there because everyone thinks Secret Lab is like the coolest gamer chair on the planet because they have a Overwatch seat and they have a Cyberpunk seat, so they're awesome. But what you must have, you need to have an integrated adjustable lumbar. The lumbar, the lower back thing, has to be built in. Don't get a pillow like JJ was showing because those do not give you actual support. They don't give you
that thing's on the floor all the time.
It's on the floor.
It's the stupid shit.
Pay that, and they're not that expensive. Seats with adjustable lumbars, but get one that's integrated and adjustable. Also, get something with recline, so you want to be able to recline the seat back, and you want it to recline as you're reclining. The one thing I do like about this Titan is that as I'm reclining back, the cushion is moving as well. You don't want just the seat back to recline. You want the cushion to move as well. Because if the seat back is reclining, your spine is opening up at the wrong angle because your legs do need to stay in line with your back. So your legs open up, you're going to recline all the way back, your shirt's going to come untucked. So the folks that know that work in office environments, a lot of times you'll sit in the seat, you'll get back up, your shirt's been completely untucked in the back because it's not in line. So definitely get something with recline. While you're at it, if you don't have something where the cushion will automatically tilt, get something that has cushion tilt to it. Something that you can adjust the cushion angle. Don't sit on a flat cushion. Make sure that cushion is always tilted so you get the blood flow into your ass cheeks, right? Your knees have to be above 90 degrees. A lot of folks will say 90 is okay. No, have your knees up above 90 degrees, above your hips. So get those in. Adjustable armrests are really good to have because not necessarily for the height or the comfort, but because you're going to be jamming them underneath your desk a lot. So you want to be able to either get them above the desk or well below that you're not going to be crashing into the desk. You talked about your butt and the shitty foam you sit on. You do want firm foam because if you want your seat to last any extra time longer than a couple months, get a firmer foam. But if you have the other stuff, you have recline, you have cushion tilt, you have integrated lumbar, your foam on your seat will stay stiff and you won't get that strain on your ass cheeks, which goes up into your back. So that firmer foam will last. You won't mess up your back if you have some of these other things into. By the way, get curvature. Don't sit like this Secret Lab seat right now. It's just a flat piece of foam. There is no curvature for my butt, so I'm getting a lot of like pressure on my ass cheeks. I'm saying butt and ass cheeks. Who cares? I'm getting a lot of pressure on there where I shouldn't have that pressure. It's not being, not being dispersed correctly.
So Dal, you bought the Secret Lab though?
I did. I bought it.
Why?
because I bought it for research. Okay, so here's what happened to me.
I too have bought gamer merchandise for research.
I had been sitting on a really, really crappy plastic chair that we had bought from like Meijer for like $50, somewhere Meijer or Sam's Club, whatever, $50 chair, thin office chair. That foam got so bad that sitting in that seat when the pandemic hit, those first few months, messed up my back so much that my sciatica went out and I couldn't walk from end of June through to middle of September. I couldn't walk. I was in extreme pain, and I attribute it to longer periods of sitting and sitting on a really shitty chair. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go out and buy an awesome chair. You know, I'll go buy myself an Embody, or I'll buy myself an Aeron chair or something. I thought, wait a minute, my back's already messed up right now. Let's mess it up even more. No, I said, there's value in me discussing gamer chairs to people, and I don't have a lot of money to buy a bunch of different chairs. So I thought, let me start with a typical gamer chair, because being someone who works in seats, I can hack apart this thing and make it comfortable for myself. So I'm like, let me get a gamer chair. Let me get this Titan, see how this fits. If it works, if it doesn't work, I can just strip it, fix it, get it to fit right, add some shit on there. I have parts in my garage. So I can make this chair function. I can make it from a $400 chair to a $1,500 chair fairly quickly with all the shit that I have. So that's why I bought this chair, with the explicit idea that I want to see what people are sitting on and understand why they're buying these types of chairs. They're not buying them for comfort. There's zero comfort advantages to these chairs. Strictly buying them for what JJ did and what I saw every freaking person do when the Cyberpunk chair came out, when the Game of Thrones chair came out. They buy it because it looks good on stream. That's it. It looks really cool on camera. These wings look really cool. They call them wings. They're shoulders. They look really cool on camera. You don't need any of that.
Do not misconstrue me buying this on aesthetics for anybody but myself. I do not buy this for it to look good on camera. I bought it because it looks good in the room, and 90% of what I do is for aesthetics. So
it's but 90% of the reason that people, I would say 95% of the reason people buy this is aesthetics. It's not for function. Again, I will say one more thing: must have, go with cloth. Go with cloth because vinyl, which is what this is, vegan leather, which is vinyl. And leather shitty in the first place, but vinyl doesn't breathe very well. So you're gonna get hot, especially in the summertime. It's gonna be very uncomfortable in these things in a hot room. Get a cloth seat. They get dirty, but it's cloth. You don't care because it's cloth. So get a cloth seat. It's definitely preferable. And then nice to have, get a neck rest. Having a little pillow thing is fine. I never really use it because I'm never leaning back. JJ, you're leaning forward. Taylor, you're a little bit more upright, which is probably the right way to sit it. Most people are actually leaning forward and they're slouched over their desk. They're not making enough contact with their seat. One day I'll talk about that. So getting a neck rest is okay. An adjustable head restraint, sure, whatever. You're never going to use those. Yeah. Cushion slide. A lot of people like to have the cushion slide because they have longer legs. That you could probably do. But avoid big bolsters like that Titan. Avoid the shoulder supports. And like I talked about, those tie downs holding material down. Avoid loose material. This Titan it's just one big chunk of loose material in the middle. If you're wearing the wrong kind of shirt or something that has something on it, it will poke and rip this thing and it'll get yanked out of there. It'll be very loose. And the problem with it being loose is that the material will start to wear down very quickly over time, which will affect your comfort. In fact, if it wrinkles, your back's going to have issues right away. Wrinkles actually affect pressure disbursement. Finally, let's get into some suggestions that I have. The Corsair T3, I was really surprised. So I went to, there's a place nearby called the Relax Your Back. And it's a lot of places, a lot of cities have these stores. Basically, it's like a store designed to sell you upscale seating for improving your back. Surprisingly, there's some pretty cool stuff there. So I went and tested a lot of the chairs they had. Then I went around and went to some stores. I went to Best Buy. I went to like Office Depot. And I called around a couple friends to see what kind of chairs they have. And then just a little bit of research from what the stuff offers. I would take this Corsair. It doesn't look as nice as the Titan. I would take that $299 Corsair over this Titan. It's made of cloth. It may be suede-ish. I don't know. But its bolsters are kind of minimized. So you don't have this big giant. I'm not going around corners unless I'm racing this seat down a ramp. There's plenty of space in there. It actually has a little bit of curvature to the back because of how it's set up. It has an articulating lumbar, articulating armrests, and it has some decent recline. So for $300, I would get that over this guy. And I think it said it's cloth. That Cougar Argo, right? So what I definitely like about this Argo is the curvature in this sucker, right? So it's mesh. I'm not the biggest fan of mesh seats because they're, depending on how they're designed, the mesh material isn't always the best, but you might feel the plastic around the edges there that are kind of framing it. But the mesh seats definitely curve and conform to your body better. The Cougar Argo has enough curvature in that lumbar area. It's a beautifully adjustable lumbar. There's a lot of mechanism in the cushion. What I like about this is as you recline, the seat actually will recline down and away, and the cushion will adjust, which is the way you want to do it, which prevents the tuck. It's $500. Looking back now, I would have got that seat instead of, and that's a gamer chair. I would have got that seat instead of this Titan for $399. I think that's a very good deal for a lot of the comfort stuff that you want in a seat. Finally, the Herman, the embodied chair. Don't buy the gamer version because it's literally just it's like the branding they threw on there and jacked the price up like $300 extra.
I will say I did actually buy the gamer version because it was the cheapest. It was the cheapest option at the time.
Okay, but I will say it is a phenomenal chair. It really is. It's $1,500. This is, I mean, when I first did this for $1,500, you can actually get them cheaper now. It is a. There he is. All right, he's back. It is a great chair. Because it's not designed as a gamer chair. It's designed for being at your desk for 8+ hours a day. That's what the seat is. You don't want a seat that is going to be good. The Corsair is going to be good for an hour and a half, 2 hours max, and for the day. The Secret Lab Titan's the same way. I'm been shifting my weight a lot during this podcast because I'm sitting in a shitty seat. The Cougar Argo probably going to last you, most of your day because it is lightweight and it's got a lot of good curvature in there. I haven't sat in it yet. I've just kind of looked at it from afar, but I think it's going to be the kind that is a good intermediary in there. And I have a list of others I'll post when I do the full article. But this should give you a good spread. Again, a lot of people like the Titan because they don't know what's different. They don't know comfort. You think the Titan's comfortable. You think the DX Racer's comfortable, but you don't need all of this stuff to have a comfortable seat. Don't get a seat from Meijer, please. I say Meijer because that's where I bought seats from. Target. Do not get seats from there because they're not good. They're just quick. Do not get a seat from IKEA. It is literally just a quick. You can build it if you can build it at home. It's probably not a great seat, and the Embody is actually pretty good to build at home. But this Titan is just like you're just 90-degree screw attachments, and I'm like it's not comfortable. It's not worthwhile. It's not going to hold the seat together very well. So, anyways, that should give you a primer on seats. I'll have a full article, but really get a good chair. Don't get the Titan is fine. I give some of the good props to it, but I do like that it has the integrated lumbar, adjustable lumbar. I can adjust it. I like that the cushion is a little bit firmer. I like that I can adjust the cushion and the recline. You don't need all this extra stuff. I would love to see a Secret Lab where they get rid of some of this extra junk and just make it a little bit more curvaceous. I think that would do wonders. But yeah. There you go. These are my selections.
Nothing about the gaming industry will ever get rid of the aesthetics stuff.
So
it's racing chairs, the racing chair
Yes.
wings and stuff is the RGB lighting of.
It really is. But I do think, and Taylor said he got that Logitech. I think the Logitech is. It was the first time that I saw people actually caring about chairs, caring about comfort. It's priced way out of everybody else. It really is for the folks that are dedicated, that understand what they're going to be into. The majority of folks are going to get a Secret Lab, or they're going to get a Corsair, or they're going to get a DX Racer because they don't know any better. And they're looking at price. Price and aesthetics are the top two things right now. And so if you have to spend the money, I mean, when you buy a car, are you going to buy a used Yugo because it has a cool paint job that is going to blow up? Or are you going to buy maybe a VW Phaeton or an Audi, A4 or something? Are you gonna get something that's actually worthwhile? You got to put the money into these things.
I was like, do you not know me at all?
Yeah.
I have a 1978 AMC.
But that's hot, though. You bought that for a reason. No. So,
hey, do you want to know what the seats are in that car? Would you like to know what the seats are in the 1978?
There's probably no headrests in that seat.
They are Levi. They are denim seats.
So yeah, like I said, I would, if you can, spend the money, get yourself a Herman Miller chair. If you can't, which most people can't, they're not budgeting the right way. Actually buy an office chair. Actually buy a task chair. Get an Aeron chair. Get an embodied chair. Get whatever. Get a Leap chair. Buy them secondhand. Right now is an awesome time to get used furniture because a lot of businesses are closing down shop. More people are working from home. A lot of places, office spaces have shrunk down in size. Hop on Marketplace. Look on Craigslist. They are throwing a lot of, not throwing away, but they're getting rid of a lot of these seats, and you can get them secondhand and get them used and get them refurbed for a heck of a great price. Even Amazon, I hopped on Amazon looking at Leap chairs and Aeron chairs, and I was surprised the price in a lot of cases was cheaper than this Titan. And I thought, wow, shit, maybe I should get that from now on. So yeah, buy secondhand. It's totally fine. If you can afford the Logitech Embody, do it. I mean, that's probably going to be my next chair. I mean, I'm going to definitely invest in it because I've had this guy for 2 years, this Titan, and it's just destroyed my back even more probably. If you're looking for something short term, the Corsair will probably get you through a year or a year and a half. The Cougar Argo might last you a couple years, but then then you're back to buying another chair. And then you probably don't want to spend. You probably don't want to buy a new console every year because your Xbox Series X died. You don't want to buy an Xbox Series X every year. Buy the hot ass PC like Taylor did. Buy it once and then upgrade it every few years. You don't need to buy a hot ass Xbox Series X every year. There you go.
I just opened up OfferUp and I can buy a Herman Miller Embody in Seattle from some guy for $600 right now.
There you go. Bam. See? You totally. So that's the. I'll have a big whole article with more details on this kind of stuff, but I think it's. I think we're in good shape for helping you guys make some decisions. Again, we started here.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Like I said, don't fuck with your back. Thank you. That is it. That's what I got. Seats. I'll talk more about it. I'll actually give a full. I want to get into reviewing seats for the site more often. I photographed step by step me putting this seat together, and I actually did like my own little freaking like benchmarking on this and a bunch of other seats. But I want to get into
running a dyno test on your car seat.
Trust me. Don't laugh, but I have run this thing through pressure testing.
Yeah, now we're talking.
We have an awesome lab where I work, and so I take shit there all the time, and we've been able to pressure test stuff and crash test stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to get into more of it. Yeah, it's awesome. I want to get into more of it. So hey, gaming chair companies, if you want an actual honest opinion from somebody who studies this kind of who's been designing chairs for over 20 years, designing seats.
Dally Ass Master Domofsky over here.
I am the ass. I like it. Better than ass boy. Better than ass man. The ass master. And that's the end, actually, of the side quest. I think we knocked out a good show. 2 hours, good.
Yeah, Zach just sent me a code. We need to go.
I got the code too. We all got like 50 messages, but hey, thank you guys for this journey. A wonderful night. Talked about a lot of fun stuff. Sam's surprise game we've been waiting.
Added it to my wish list. I'm gonna make
Sam,
sure.
thank you.
When that bad boy $6, I'm gonna.
Whatever happened to Sam, he's just nice and quiet right now.
Hey, I can't wait to play it with all you guys when you get it. It's gonna be just so good.
You got it on PC?
No, I have it on PlayStation. So
no, I don't really never play a video game together.
yeah. So yeah, I mean. I tell you what, if you guys are honestly going to get it on PC the next time it's $6 and you're actually going to play it, I will buy it on PC.
I will do it.
I'm certainly tempted now.
Yep.
I am not joking when I said that I have added it to my wish list. So when it gets to $6, I am buying it.
I can't wait to be trolled for every sale moving forward with this game is not $6.
Yeah.
JJ, thank you very much for the mania that you brought.
Oh yeah. And we're not talking about the game.
Taylor, thank you for giving us some wonderful information on game streaming services and letting us know that you actually know what you're doing when you got a good seat for your back.
Yeah, thank you. It's the spending money is the only thing I'm good at. So
yeah, but for good reason. Your back will not give out. That's what matters.
I'm counting on it.
Listeners, viewers, thank you everybody who joined us. Feel free to leave messages for us on the website, in the comments, and most importantly in the Discord. Join our Discord; it's really worth it. Rate, review, all that fun stuff. Like this post on YouTube, like this video on YouTube, like the video on Twitch. It helps. It really does. It's a little button. Click right there. It's so easy to do.
This one in particular, because let's get Dally a chair. Let's get a free chair to Dally. The goal of this is to get Dally a free chair.
I don't like that strategy.
Logitech or Herman Miller did just announce a brand new
an actual chair. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. I don't want you to get a good chair. I want you to get some real gamer.
We want you to get the bottom barrel, the worst of the worst.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that. The Vantum. I have not reviewed it. I saw the announcement of it. So with that said, you find us sidequesting.com, sidequesting TV on Twitch and YouTube. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a bad note to leave on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Nah, you ruined it.
Charles Martinet has